All right. So here we are. Uh, we got a cool lesson that we're going to do. It is cool. What we're going to do is we are going to use Node.js and Express to build out a web application. Um, so it's going to require quite a few things. Uh, we are going to be using the Sakila database. I think I can try to post the link to the database in the comments uh, later on. With this lesson, like I said, we'll be using the Sakila database. So you have to have a little bit of understanding of how MySQL works. If you want to go back and watch videos I did on MySQL and how to write schema, well, not schema, but queries, doing SQL queries, then you can look that up. But there's a database that's already built. It's a sample database, thanks to the team of MySQL who built that out for us, and we're going to use that. Or if you want to, you can use your own database. If you have a database that you want to play with, you can use your own database. Basically, just as far as writing the queries and connecting to that database, you need to just make sure that you are, putting in the correct information when connecting to the database. Anyways, I'm building this straight from scratch. Okay, I have an idea in my head of how I want it to look, but I'm not exactly sure. But let's get into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here in the command line, and I'm going to find a place to put this folder for this project. I'm going to say CD. I need to go into my desktop and then go to where I keep uh, all of my work. So over here inside this node folder that I've already built. So however you choose to do it, if you want to leave it just on desktop, it's up to you. But you need to navigate to a certain place to put this project folder. I'm going to name this folder. I'm going to name this Sakila app. So yeah, make dir Sakila app. Matter of fact, I'm going to underscore it. So make dir Sakila underscore app. That's what I'm going to name my project. Okay. And then I'm going to go inside of that project by saying CD Sakila underscore app. And that puts me inside that folder. I can tell I'm in that folder because right here I can see it's listed. Also, if I need to, I can type PWD or present working directory, and it lets me know the location I'm in. Okay. So I'm good. So again, this project requires Node. So if you have not installed Node onto your device, you need to make sure that you do that before you go any further. So you can pause right here and go to nodejs.org and download the long-term support version of Node for your machine, and then come back here. But if you've done that already, we're good to go. I'm going to type the command and the node command to initialize node on this project is npm init-y. So I type npm init-y, hit enter, and you see that it creates a package.json file already made. Okay. So we're good right there. The next thing I like to do is I like to go ahead and install the packages that I'm going to use for this project. The focus of this project is going to be Express. So I need to make sure that I install Express. I'm also going to be using MySQL 2, not MySQL. I'm going to use MySQL 2, which has it's expanded a lot of the methods and stuff, and makes database connect activity a little more thorough. So we're going to install that. Also going to install Node Fetch. Okay, and there are other API frameworks you can use, and maybe I'll do another video on that, like particularly Axios. That's one I like. But we're going to use Node Fetch for this. So I'm going to install my Node packages now. I'm going to say npm I or install, but I like to just go shortcut. Just say I need Express. I need MySQL 2, and I also need Node Fetch. And there's one other one that I want to use, and this is for security, and it's going to be called Helmet. So I'm going to say npm I Express MySQL 2 Node Fetch and Helmet. I hit enter. I'm going to take a little time, but there it is. Added my packages. So you may find some vulnerabilities. It may say they found some vulnerabilities. If it does, I mean, it should be okay. The number of packages you may have, it depends on the version that you are using. But the current day, with the version I'm using, 84 packages. So everything's good. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to add a get-ignore file. Okay. And so I'm going to say touch.getIgnore. If you've watched my videos on React, you'll see how we do that. So I created a get-ignore file, and what that's used for, again, get-ignore is for storing directories, folders, files that we don't want to get sent up to GitHub. We don't want it to be available there. So I'm going to open it up by saying nano.getIgnore. Pulls up that file, and I'm going to come back to this, but right now it's going to be node modules / and star-lock.json. Those are the two things that we're going to put inside of get-ignore. Okay. And to exit out of here, once I get this going, I need to write this out. So I'm going to say Control O. Then I'm going to hit enter and Control X. All right. Done with that. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to structure my folders, or just, yeah, we're going to structure this folder out. And so what I'm going to do inside of here is I think I want to store everything inside of an app folder. Well, I'll have some stuff inside of an app folder. So I'm going to make 3 folders for this. I'm going to say make dir. I'm going to make an app folder. I'm going to make a public folder, and I'm going to make a views folder. The app folder is going to be the folder where I'm going to put essentially the code that's going to be driving everything here. The public folder is for any static files that we may have. And then views folder is going to be for our view engine. We're going to use EJS. I'm going to install that later. But my view engine, my templates are going to go inside of views. So hit enter. I created those folders. So the first folder I'm going to start off with, and I'll just be adding my folders and files as we go along. But the first file that I'm going to add for this is going to be a server.js file. Now, this server.js file is going to be the main file or the point file for this project. You can use index.js if you want to. If you choose to use index.js, you can see that it's already established inside of your package.js file, package.json file. if you want to use, main.js or script.js, app.js, any one of those names, it works just fine. I like to use server.js because it's a server that I'm building. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to say touch server.js. Going to hit enter there. All right. And before I go into Visual Studio Code, the last thing I'm going to do for this initial setup is I'm going to go into my package.json file and I'm going to configure it. And to go into that file, again, the command is nano. So nano package.json. So it's good to know those commands. And these are your terminal, your command line commands: touch, nano, make dir, ls, cd, a few others that are, you'll be using more than others, but it's good to know those by heart and what they do. So here I am. I'm in my package.json file. So I can make my adjustments here. What I'm going to do for my main, I'm going to remove index.js. And I'm going to change that to server.js. And I'm going to add some scripts that I'm going to use to run this project. The first one is going to be start. And make sure you have this in double quotes because this is a JSON file. So the start script, the command for it is going to be node server.js. And then I'm going to use dev. That's the one I like. You can use debug as well. And that's going to be nodemon server.js. I haven't mentioned nodemon yet. Nodemon is a way to, it automatically updates your code as you type something. So that way I don't have to stop. I don't have to terminate my server and then start it back up each time I make a change. Nodemon, this is for development. It updates it live as whenever the file is saved. And since I have my Visual Studio Code set to auto save each time I make a change, the Nodemon updates the server. Okay. And you may not have Nodemon on your computer yet if you don't have Node, in which case, if you don't have Nodemon, let me show you what to do. Let me fix this up real quick. I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna add myself as the author of this, and I can add a little description if I want to. Web app using Sakila DB. So yeah, there's a description. Now, if I look at my dependencies here, you can see again we've installed Express, Helmet, MySQL 2, and Node Fetch. So we'll be able to use these dependencies or these libraries for our project. So you want to make sure that you have Express, Helmet, MySQL 2, and Node Fetch. And you can see the particular versions that I'm using for this project. It's just the latest ones or the long-term support versions. So I'm good to go here. Again, to back out of this file is Control-O, Enter, Control-X. And now, as I was saying with Nodemon, if you don't have Nodemon on your machines, the command to get it is you'll say npm I, and this is after you add node. You'll say npm I nodemon-g, and that will install Nodemon globally on your computer, in which case you won't have to use it anymore. Well, you won't have to install it anymore, rather. Okay, I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to add more files, add more folders to this project, but this is a good start. So now I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code. And when I open up Visual Studio Code here, I can see I have my server.js file, my package.json, my get ignore with node modules, and star-lock.json. I have my app folder here, and I have my views folder here, and I got public. So I got everything set. We are good to go. We're about ready to start writing some code. So I'm going to do that starting in the next video. This one is just for the setup. So you should be looking like this. If not, go ahead and pause the video, rewind it, and check and make sure that you have installed everything that you want to. As far as adding folders and files, you can do it directly from VS Code. That's perfectly fine if you want to do that, or if you want to use like Finder or File Explorer for that, that's perfectly fine if you choose to do that. I'm going to do all my stuff from the command line. So you can follow along with that, and then maybe learn how to use a little more command line. But anyways, we're going to start actually writing some code, starting off with the server.js file in the next video.